Hello everybody, once again, this is C.B Smallwood with 100 Days of Making Comics, and unless I'm mistaken, I think this is day 33. And today, what I want to talk about, what I want to show, is I'm working on lettering. As you know, I put out a APP out on, or ABP, whatever. I put one of those things out wanting people to give me suggestions and hints on lettering software that I can use to letter the comic book myself. And I'm in the process of looking at all these suggestions and trying to reply back to everybody's comments that were made like 3 days ago. I'm sorry. But anyway, in the meantime, I've been working on my lettering. Not so much the word balloons, but the lettering itself. I mean, like, I figure making a word balloon can't be that hard, you know. It's the actual lettering is what the problem is. So I don't know if you can tell or not, but this is actually tracing paper. And a couple of months ago, I went and bought a trade paperback in Dollar General. And this trade paperback, it's missing its cover. It's laying around here somewhere. It was done mostly by David Finch for Top Cow, and it's called Aphrodite IX, I believe. And anyway, found it at the Dollar General. I was like, oh, this is odd. This is here, whatever. So I purchased this bad boy along with a couple other comics that came in this plastic pack thing. And when I was flipping through it, the cover came right off, you know. And, you know, I was fine with that because one of the beauties to me personally as an artist when you have a trade paperback is it's a collection of several issues, and I kind of treat it more like a field manual for drawing comics and that sort of thing. So, as you can see, like, it's got a bit of wear and tear there because for some reason some of the pages stuck together. I can't explain why that is, you know, it's just how it came. And there's some pretty good David Finch art in here off and on, and then later on in the book he didn't finish the series for some reason or other, and they had other people take over. Aphrodite IX might have been one of the last things he did, I don't know. But anyway, so my point is, what I did was I started tearing pages out of this thing and just tracing his artwork and tracing different things, backgrounds and stuff, kind of trying to better myself. And so let me show you what I've done here. Let me push this all the way up. So, I'm working on my lettering. Now I've got this pen, and I love this pen. Precise, made by a Pilot, I guess. And then Sharpie. You can never go wrong with Sharpie. So these are the three things that I've experimented with lettering with. And let me show you this. Okay, so let me get in here. This is kind of difficult to letter with, you know, the tripod in a way. I'll try to do this fairly quick. But anyway, I've been working on my lettering, and I found that different pens have different effects. I don't know if you can really tell, but you know what would help? You know what would help this? Zoom in. But yeah. See, my lettering's a little different, a little similar in some places, a little different in others. The biggest trouble that I have is actually drawing or writing the G. It's so difficult for me to do a G. I can't explain why that is. So, let me get to my original point. So, using this pen right here, this is good if you got like a sketch pad or whatever, and you're doing lettering that is pretty much true to size for the most part. This works fine for me personally so far. You know, let me try this. I wonder if you guys can see this one. Well, that's terrible. I'm getting in a hurry, I think, is another thing that's hurt me, because I know, you know, some of you are watching, and the thing is, I want to make sure people's, you know, somewhat entertained or stay interested in what it is I'm working on. There we go. And this is me just kind of freehanding it here, you know, not using rulers and all this other stuff, you know. There's my crude bubble. Okay. So my lettering for the most part is pretty much all right. But anyway, like if I'm doing something true to comic size, then this so far for the most part works fine. But the problem is, like, if I'm going to be lettering the big 11 by 17 paper, I don't think that's going to work. So I would have to letter kind of bigger. So if I was to do that same thing, I think this might be maybe too big. I'm not sure. There you go. Well, it would help if I move the camera in the right place, but you see, then you get this kind of effect. And this looks, overall, I think this looks good. But actual lettering, I don't think it's, you know, the letters are that thick. So I found that this thing that I got at the Dollar General, I think, anyway, it is, I'm sorry, if the camera will focus, it's a 0.7 millimeter. It's got a rolling ball tip, I believe. And I think this is a happy medium between these two lettering things. So using the Sharpie before to letter this, and then using that one pen that I like to letter this. So I'm going to show you the, I'm going to, let's see, let me get situated here. I'm going to show you what I feel is the happy medium between the two. So I find that this makes sort of dark lines, and so think this works pretty good. My only problem with it is only, I could be wrong. You know, this is like a brand new pen. The ink seems to run out fast because I was using the same pen a while ago, and look here, it makes me a liar. but the ink was not coming out, so that's the thing. So I think if I can find a more reliable pen that is 0.7 rollerball thing, I may just use that, and I may potentially, unless I change my mind, I'm not really dead set on it, you know, just letter my comic myself, you know. I just need to really work on my lettering and that sort of thing. So I'm going to keep tracing and looking at stuff. Oh, here's another thing. This ink gets really wet, so if you lay your hand down on it or anything like that, you'll smudge it. So if you ever start to letter my own comic, I'm going to have to be aware of that, because I don't want to spend all that effort, you know, working on something just to muck it up. But yeah, making lots of progress and trying new things, trying to expand my horizons. I guess one of the things that I always try to keep in mind when I'm working on my comics, or trying to draw comics, or whatever it is at one point in my life I wanted to join the Joe Kubert School of Cartooning, but it never worked out. They wanted like $13,000 and $14,000 per year to go to school, and that was like, there's like 3 years, so do the math, you know, like $14,000 times 3. Like, I didn't have that money, and they recommended, you know, me go to you know, maybe another school, or go get a loan, go get a grant. And so I was fresh out of high school and didn't really know much about the world, and so yeah, I mean, it's how that kind of worked out. Never went. I have no regrets about that, really, for the most part. But I'm just saying that didn't really have much help. What time I was in high school, the guidance counselor was terrible in terms of helping me. Now, that person, who I won't name, she was really good at helping a lot of the cheerleaders and stuff. But, you know, I was a nobody, so that sounds kind of bitter and resentful, doesn't it? But I'm telling the truth, you know. I'm telling my own personal experience, so you should take it for what that's worth, you know. Maybe that guidance counselor that I'm talking about, maybe her opinion of me is like, maybe she didn't see me as a serious person, or maybe she didn't see my effort to go to college as a serious thing, or the Joe Kubert School, you know, whatever. It's, I guess technically it's a trade college. But anyway, I guess the point I was trying to make, I kind of got on a detour here, but I always like to let my videos take little happy detours, because I think it makes them more interesting, other than just seeing me draw and ink and letter and whatever it is I'm trying to do. But in the process of trying to become a comic book artist and do all this stuff is I try to keep in mind, like, what Joe Kubert students must go through to become graduates. You know, they learn a little bit about coloring, a little bit about writing, lettering, inking, different techniques, different genres. And so I think that's a really good train of thought. You know, I think everybody should. Let me zoom out here. Boom, boom, boom. I think everybody should kind of, like, if you want to be a comic book artist, you know, kind of just pretend that you are actually in the Joe Kubert School, and you have to do all that work in order to be a comic artist or a writer or whatever it is that you want to be, you know, to be versatile. So yeah, that's where I'm at today, and I'm sorry that this is like 15 minutes of me just trying to learn to letter, but I thought this was interesting, a little change of pace. See, the day before yesterday, I tried to do a Rick and Morty watercolor, and that bad boy turned out pretty bad. It's not god awful, but it's nothing like how I envisioned it, in terms of the actual coloring and stuff. But that's okay, you know. I mean, sometimes stuff happens. But anyway, I will reply back to everybody's stuff. Just give me a little bit. I'm working on it. And I appreciate all the likes and subscribes and follows and all that stuff that I get. And anybody that takes the time to comment. And listen, even if you guys and gals don't even comment, like, subscribe, or follow, even if it's just, you know, view my videos, that means a lot to me, you know. Because you could be viewing somebody else's video, you know. So I always try to keep that in perspective and keep that in mind. You know, it means a lot to me. But anyway, this is day 33 of, I think it is anyway, of 100 days of making comics. This is C.B Smallwood, and I will see you all again in the next video.